you have to cheer for this guy to get away with this stuff because he's showing how bad the system is.
But the truth is, it's easy to be a limousine liberal when you live in a glass tower and those people can't get into your neighborhood. So for me to run around and say, it's not fair and it's not right. You're white, therefore you're a bad person.
Who said anything about that?
Oh, listen. All right, so what are we talking about here?
We're supposed to be the indictment.
Oh, Trump?
Yes.
What do you think? I already know what I think.
I think I agree with some of the criticism that this is like with the weakest case. I don't think he should have been indicted for this. I think this should have been another one of his civil cases that just lingers out there. I think they probably pushed the envelope on it.
I think they pushed it so far they won't even tell you what the connecting crime is. Like they're like, oh, we don't have to let you know. Like you understand there's a part of the indictment that they're not telling you.
Right. I thought it was falsifying documents.
Right, which is a misdemeanor. But they're saying if you use that, if you commit a misdemeanor in the furtherance of a felony, then it becomes a felony. But they won't tell you really what that was.
Wasn't it for taxes though?
No.
But that would have been, it might be state taxes.
Listen. Regardless of what it is, like he shouldn't have been indicted. Like this is so, to me, it's so politically motivated. And this guy ran on, I'm going to get Trump. Like, what are you thinking? Like, to me, that whole case gets thrown out. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's assume he's guilty of something. Statute of limitations is up on all of it. Let's assume you can tie it into a greater crime and maybe extend the statute of limitations. Okay, it still should be, it gets thrown out. It's completely politically motivated. You know what it reminds me of? It makes me think of the O.J. Simpson trial. Did O.J. Simpson butcher his ex-wife and boyfriend? Yes, I believe he did. But when you start lying on the stand just to get somebody or lying, and then you got to throw it out. Like, I'm sorry.
Mark Furman?
Yeah, Mark Furman. Like, he's lying about using the N-word. He's lying about not going there with the blood on him. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, you've now destroyed this case. And even though I think, did OJ do it? Yeah, absolutely. Should he be in jail for it? Yes.
Well, I think if he did it, he did it more than one person. I think that's what the problem was. I don't think it was him by himself. But
well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm saying I think he's guilty,
right?
But you still have the rule of law, and you're tainting it by your lies. You're getting on the stand and you're lying about things. So it's over. It's over. Does a guilty man go free? Yeah, he goes free.
Well, and I think that's what happens kind of with Trump on this. So,
did he mislabel the stuff?
You know what it more reminds me of? Like Bill Cosby.
Okay. We're never getting monetized. Go ahead.
Well, Bill Cosby's conviction got overturned.
Right.
Because the appellate court basically says, you have to. Is that
like the appellate court?
Yeah. What, appellate?
You said a pallet. It's not a pallet. We didn't bring in a load of cement blocks.
The appellate
right.
court basically said that you have to honor your agreement. Well, the prosecutor in that case ran on, I'll charge Bill Cosby.
Right.
He won and he charged Bill Cosby. And he actually convicted Bill Cosby.
Right. And he goes to jail and he gets thrown out.
Yeah, he gets thrown out,
right.
which I think it ended up being worse. I think that's worse to those women.
Yeah, because now you're dragging everybody through it.
Yeah, for nothing.
Right. Well, I mean, in the end, he did do some time, but I get it. I'm saying, it's a what is it? A paper lion? It's all bullshit. It's all.
Yeah.
So, but with the Trump thing, here's the thing: you go to trial. All I got to do is get some married men on that trial.
Some married men.
Yeah, some married men.
Which what are we talking about?
Who
are we talking about? Bill or
no? If Trump goes to takes it and goes to trial, assuming it doesn't just get thrown out altogether. Let's say he actually goes to trial. All you've got to do is get some married men on that, in that jury, and they're going to be like, would you lie about paying somebody off to keep their mouth shut and mislabel it to hide it from your wife? Oh, yeah, I do that. Absolutely.
Dude, I
do that.
He's in liberal central.
I know, it's tough. But here's the problem. Even the liberals, you've got them on CNN saying it's a stretch. Like it's way, and some of them are just saying, look, it's getting thrown out. There's just no way it doesn't get thrown out. And these are like super liberal people saying, come on, man.
Yeah, well, I agree. But I mean, or stranger things have happened.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So I don't know if he actually would go.
I don't think he's going to take a plea.
No, he probably would end up. It'll take forever. It'll take. I don't think it's going to win anyway.
I think that he just got more people to vote for him. Like so? I don't. It didn't damage his reputation.
Nothing damages. Right. Nothing damages Trump's. So, which is absolutely amazing. Right.
So it is amazing. Well, here's the funny thing.
That man said he could shoot someone on Park Avenue and not lose a single.
Yeah, not lose. Yeah.
And you say, well, it might depend on who he shot.
Yeah. Well, you lost one.
Because he'd only shoot one of his voters. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
So, but I'm saying that to me, like if you were on the fence, you just jumped on Trump's side. You didn't say, "Oh, this guy's a felon. He's going to be a felon now." He's a nobody's going to say that. They're going to say, "Come on, man, what are you doing, bro? Did you just go past the statute of limitations? Did you just indict him on a felony for what is a misdemeanor that has the statute of limitations and try and tie it into a larger crime that you really can't even articulate? Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what a waste! Like, you're making liberals look bad by doing this."
You're talking about legal gymnastics. You're talking about legal gymnastics. They do it all the time.
I agree, but when they seldomly do it
against the president
or in the press. Like usually they do it so that it's behind the scenes. The press works with them. Everybody works with them. But when it's out in the light, it becomes obvious how manipulative and corrupt everything is. And it does. And that's the other thing about finding out that a president has done something illegal. Every president that comes in finds out the last 5 presidents did this illegal or that or that. What do? They don't do anything. Why? It tarnishes the presidency. Even if you don't like, I don't like Biden. I don't think he's a good representative of the country. I don't think he's very presidential. I don't like his policies. I don't like anything about him. But if he walked in the room, you would never see me be more polite to someone. Because he is the president of the United States. Have some fucking respect, right? I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I agree.
Even if you don't like Trump, like I would be super respectful, even though he's out there. He says some fucked up shit.
So let me say.
And I like Trump.
Let me say this as a
presidential,
as a screaming lib. So my friends in jail. I have one friend who tells me, because I go, I don't like Trump. He goes, yeah, but you gotta respect. Like he goes, you can't cheer.
His gangster.
Yeah. He goes, you can't cheer. He goes, it's like cheering against yourself. He goes, like all the things that we've done and wanted to get away with. You know what I'm saying? You have to cheer for this guy to get away with this stuff because he's showing, right, how bad the system is. Yeah. You know how the system will grab us and shake us up and throw us upside down and around? Well, they can't grab him and shake him. You have to, he kept telling me, you have to appreciate. He's the one that gives me the ultimate respect for him because he's right. The system cannot get their hands on him. He's so elusive, right, that I like that because he has the balls to kind of say, I'm going to walk this line and you can't touch me.
Yeah. What about, did you hear Dave Chappelle? When Dave Chappelle said he knew Trump was like going to win?
No, I didn't hear it.
I want to say he said, when Trump said during the presidential debate with Hillary Clinton, he said, the system is rigged. The tax system is rigged. It's rigged. I know it's rigged because I use it. And he said, and so do all of her donors. And all her donors use it. And if you were going to change all these loopholes, why haven't you done it? He said, I know it's rigged because he said, I use it. So he said right then, he said, I know this dude, well, he's going to win an election. I think that's what he said. He said, that's when he knew. Or that's when he said, he said, that's when a star was born. Isn't that what he said, when a star was born?
A lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular, but I get it. He's an honest liar. That first debate, never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, this whole system is rigged. I know the system is rigged because I use it. I said, God damn. And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, this man doesn't pay his taxes. He shot right back. That makes me smart. If you want me to pay my taxes, then change the tax code. But I know you won't, because your friends and your donors enjoy the same tax breaks that I do. And with that, my friends, a star was born.
Trump. Poor Trump. Trump's old.
Biden's old.
No. But here's the thing. Trump's old.
So do you think we're going to have
he's holding up well for a guy who's eating like 3 hamburgers a day from McDonald's?
Which is what I'm going to eat for lunch now. Did you say that?
Are you serious? Oh my. He eats like horribly. I'll bet Biden's taking care of himself his whole life and he's just falling apart. And Trump's one of those guys that could smoke 2 packs a day, eat Burger King 3 meals a day, and he'll live to be fucking 95 years old. And you're like, this is ridiculous.
Anyway, I think his narcissism is what's
keeping him going.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What's going on?
What do I think about? Like I said, I think it's going to be thrown out. We were deemed criminals, right?
Right.
And he's one of us. He's like, I'll do whatever I have to do for me.
Yeah. I look,
which is a criminology kind of thinking process.
Look, it is, but okay. So antisocial disorder, right? Which 99% of criminals suffer from, right?
Yes.
What is it? 2% 2 or 3%, 1 or 2% of society has some kind of antisocial disorder. Almost all criminals have
1 or 2% of society has it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about 1% of society is on some kind of supervision, either incarcerated or on supervision.
Wrong.
What is it? What's the number?
Okay. So the number is actually not available. What they do is they take.
How do you know I'm wrong?
I'm going to tell you how.
Okay.
The number that they give you is the number of people in prison,
right,
and on supervision.
That's what I just said. They're on some kind of supervision.
Give me one more second.
Okay.
They don't count the people in county jails.
Oh, so you're saying it's more than that? Oh, there's got to be a ton of people in county jail.
What? Every county jail in this country is at capacity.
No.
Yes.
No, I disagree. I think it's at more like 120, 130 because they have, because you got 2-man cells where there's 4 guys sleeping in them. To me, I feel that's over capacity.
Yes. They don't factor that number in at all.
Because they're not guilty yet.
That probably could be part of it.
Maybe that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, and some of them are misdemeanors, but they don't want to count the misdemeanors. They really want you to know because misdemeanors can't go to prison. So what they do is the numbers are skewed. It's a government skewing. I read this in a book. I'm gonna think of the name of it.
I'm not going to sit here and listen to you talk bad about the federal government if that's what you're going to do.
I might do that.
I refuse to listen to you propose any type of theory that says that the United States government would mislead us. Is that where you're going with this?
Yes. So
this is over.
So, and that's what's funny because Florida for like prisoners has they say about 35,000 prisoners. No,
okay. No, that seems like way too low. It's got to be over 100,000. Is there over like 200,000 in the federal system?
He built some of the nation's largest banks out of an estimated $55 million because $50 million wasn't enough and $60 million seemed excessive. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't typically commit crimes, but when I do, it's bank fraud. Stay greedy, my friends.
Support the channel. Join Matthew Cox's Patreon.
So you got to figure Hillsborough County has
basically
7,000. So you take Miami.
7,000 just in the jails?
Yes. you got to, so you take Miami, which has about 12, and like Orlando has about 9. Like if you start adding up just the major metropolises in their system, it comes up to about 50,000 people in jail, county jail.
So basically, we're talking about incarcerated right now in the state of Florida, a couple 100,000, roughly,
about
in some capacity.
Yes. And they want you to think, oh, it's only about 1% or 2% of the population is incarcerated. No, it's probably like 6 or 7.
Hold on. How many people live in Florida? 21.78. So 21 million. And you're saying
200,
roughly,
yeah.
well, we estimated. So maybe it is probably, that's about 1%.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I hate to be wrong like that. Edit that whole thing.
regardless, let's say it's 1 or 2%.
Right.
Okay, because if you got to factor in, once again, that's people right now, and you're talking about incarceration. We're not talking about people on probation.
Well, it's 146,000 on probation. So you add.
You said 146,000 on probation?
No,
how many are incarcerated?
They said 80,000 incarcerated.
Oh, okay. And 146.
So if you include the people, on probation.
So you're talking about 230,000 plus basically another 100,000 in the jails.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's over 21 million. Well, 1% of 21 million.
Yeah, that's about 1.5%.
Yeah, 1.5. It's not going to be 4 or 5. It's whatever. It's
right,
1
so
to 2.
I'm wrong. I'm
1 or 2. That whole. Can you see how we just did that whole? In prison, that's a 3-day conversation, by the way. Here, that's a 5.
Or a fist fight.
Right.
But
So anybody watching this who thinks to themselves that, man, that was a long time to get there. Listen, bro. That was quick. That's a 3 or 4 day conversation while you're doing moves, walking by. Hey, bro, I looked that shit up and that's not true. Such and such. Yeah, but you didn't look up. You looked up incarcerated. You didn't look up how many people are actually on probation. Damn it. All right, I'll get back to you. 2 days later, yo, bro, my mom just sent me the thing on the such and such, and I found out that as you're walking by, one guy's going to rec, one guy's going to the library. One guy's going back to the housing unit.
One guy behind him like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Who gives a F?
Exactly. So anyway, regardless,
yes,
I don't know what we were talking about.
We're talking about Trump going to jail.
Yes.
Yeah, we did lose our track, didn't we?
Well, I mean, obviously, he's not going to jail.
No.
It's going to get dropped. Or he's going to go to trial, and I think he'll probably win. Is there a chance he doesn't win? Yeah, there's a chance.
That's slim. On that case, slim. I think some of the more serious cases might be a little bit, might pose more of a problem if they get brought. Do you think it's going to be a repeat Biden and Trump for presidency?
I can't imagine that Biden will run again.
He hasn't announced yet. He's kind of late.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, listen, he's not holding up well. Like I don't see him running. He stumbles a lot. And it's only going to get worse. I mean, he's a couple of years away from a stroke.
Yeah, but I don't know who would go in his stead.
I mean, somebody will come out of the woodwork and run.
Right.
The problem is, will they? I think the problem is, like we were talking earlier about, like DeSantis, and
that's what it was. We were talking about
Trump.
DeSantis,
right? And you were saying that DeSantis is like scared of Trump.
Well, so all right. So DeSantis is like, I have a lot of respect for him because he knows how to wield power and he knows how to play on selling the freedom. You got to remember, I'm a liberal, so he knows how to play on people's logic, especially Florida people, right? But I believe
some people would just call that logic.
I believe that he's trying to walk too much of a line when it comes to Trump, and I think he should really set himself apart. But I think he's afraid that Trump will be like, I think he's afraid to challenge him head to head. What I mean by that is to contradict him, to separate himself. He's using a strategy of, if I play and stroke, this guy will take himself out. He's thinking Trump will take himself out and he'll be the heir apparent, is what I believe.
I agree with what you're saying. Here's the reason I see, and it's funny because like Jess and I had this discussion where she's like, I wish he would run. She's like, I wish DeSantis would run. And I was like, and I'm saying, I don't think he will run against Trump. Because what?
Go ahead. You're right.
Because
that's what he's waiting on.
So. Right. Because it's my thought is he's thinking, look, Trump will, if I debate Trump, he'll gut me. Like Trump doesn't take prisoners. You're with him or you're against him. Like most narcissists, you're with him or you're against him. So, and he'll do, and if you're against him, then he doesn't see that there's any line he won't cross. So who knows what he'll say, what rumors he'll get started, whether it's true or not true, what he'll twist. And even if you beat him, he may ruin your chance. He may have done such damage to your reputation, you simply can't run again. For instance, I can't think of Jeb Bush right now without immediately thinking low energy. I don't know why low energy, stuck in my mind so much, where there are things that Trump says about people that stick with you, and then it kind of ruins that person's character for you or for me. Now, I think that DeSantis is thinking this guy will just gut me, and then will I have enough credibility and character left to carry on and win the election? Or do I wait and see if he burns himself out, let him run? He's got 4 years. DeSantis is young. He can wait 4 years, like he can. And then somebody asked the other day, said, if Trump asked you to be his vice president, would you? And he said, yeah, I'm more of an executive guy. Like I remember thinking, like, vice president's not good enough for you. Like, to me, I remember thinking, I'll be vice president. This guy's done in 4 years. And let's face it, in the next 4 years, he can do a lot of good. And then I just ride that wave.
Well, he doesn't think Trump's going to win.
Really? You heard that? Him say that?
No. Reason why he wouldn't get on Trump's ticket
is because he thinks he won't win.
He won't win.
I think with him on the ticket, he would win. And even if he runs and loses with Trump, let's face it, DeSantis doesn't have to put up his own money to do it. Trump runs the whole thing for him. And if he loses, so what? There have been lots of guys that were vice president on a losing ticket that turned around and ran for presidency.
No, there hasn't.
What are you talking about?
No, there hasn't.
Yeah.
Who's ran on a losing ticket and became president? You want to think Gerald Ford?
I don't know. What do you mean? Did he?
Yeah.
Didn't
but Gerald Ford didn't get elected. I think he got appointed president. He became someone's vice president.
Are you talking about Lyndon Johnson? Did he win?
Lyndon Johnson was part of Lyndon Johnson was Kennedy's president.
No, he was vice president. He became
president.
Yeah.
And then he
So I was going to say he wasn't elected. He just became president by default.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying somebody on a losing ticket
with a vice president could turn around and
run themselves and win. That has not happened yet. A losing. Are you
serious?
Yes.
I'm looking into this.
Yes.
And when I see you on the yard by Friday, I'll know.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to look into this.
Right.
Somebody in the comment section, because somebody has to have some vice president probably ran on a losing ticket and then turned around, within the next 8 or 10 years and ran as president and won. That's got to have happened.
No. So let's say maybe in the 1800s, maybe, I don't know. I'm like 19,
You're saying never.
I shouldn't say never. I should say,
is it possible? You're telling me it's not possible?
I'm not aware of. Well, it is possible. It just hasn't happened yet.
You're saying we don't
it might
know
not
that.
have happened.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I'm almost 95% positive, but I was wrong.
Well, listen, someone's smarter.
I was wrong about the percentage of people in jail.
And that's such a tough question to ask. Google.
Geraldine Ferraro, Lloyd Benson, Dan Quayle, Jack Kemp, Joe Limberman, John Edwards, Sarah Palin, Paul Ryan, Tim Kaine, Mike Pence.
Jeez.
So it was Franklin D. Roosevelt, but I'm trying to remember who.
Wow.
I wonder who he ran with. So Franklin D. was the only one.
That's upsetting, huh? Boy, you were almost right there. But you know what?
Whose ticket Franklin D. Roosevelt?
You know what almost right means,
but he's right, huh?
You know what almost right means, right?
I was wrong.
You were wrong.
Yeah. But they're right. They're absolutely right. Franklin D. He did. In fact, he was pissed. Anyway, all right. I remember kind of the history. They're right. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Franklin D. Roosevelt. So he was president, three terms? Died during the last term, right?
Listen, it comes back to me, the person he was running with, he told him, you're a friggin' idiot. Yeah, anyway.
Did he run with Theodore? No. I'm trying to think.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Was it Hoover? Did he run with Hoover?
Look, are we going to talk?
I'm sorry.
It's almost time to go.
Right. What was the other one? Oh, you don't know who Andrew Tate is.
Oh, are we done with Trump?
Oh, no.
We were still talking about DeSantis.
Okay, well, I mean,
DeSantis thinks Trump's going to lose the election. He probably doesn't even like Trump. I believe in my mind, I don't think DeSantis will ever be president.
No. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
He'll definitely be president.
No, I don't think so. I think he's too confrontational, right? And
he's
I think
aggressive. He is aggressive.
He over strategizes. I think I'm
going to say assertive.
Over strategizes?
No, I'm going to say he's not aggressive as much as DeSantis is assertive.
Well, yeah. I'm going to tell you, can I say this in broad view? Some of that crap he's doing is not going to go over well later on.
You mean like shipping people up to Martha's Vineyard? I thought that was hilarious.
I think that was hilarious. I think that's kind of a good condescending move. I won't take that from him. But like taking away Disney's because they jumped into some political debate, taking away the fact that they can't own that city and raising the taxes on the people in the city. That pissed me off. I'm going to tell you, firing the district attorney of Tampa.
You're just upset.
Oh, I was ticked. I was ticked. And firing him, right, and appointing that.
Unbelievable.
It's quite all right. Go ahead, handle your business. What are you opening? You're supposed to take that in the bathroom. All right. And open it. All right. All right. So I forgot totally what I was saying.
Disney, you're upset about.
Yes,
Disney has free reign over Orlando. They shouldn't. What public company is allowed to police themselves? It's ridiculous. They're letting diddlers go. You know, they got diddlers on staff. They're letting them go. They just fire them. They've got, Where
did you, what? Come on.
I'm going to show you the video. I'll show you the video.
You can't, all right.
Tons of, listen.
Tons of diddlers get let go.
They catch them doing stuff.
They don't have their own police. They have their own security.
Which polices their theme parks. There's no cops in Disney.
So does Indian reservations. I mean,
that's Indian reservations. We're all living on their land. Got to give them something. They can have casinos and cigarettes and reservations. I'm not giving my house up.
Why did he do that though? Because they said something.
You're right. It was spite. Was it spite? Yeah, it was spite. It was probably spiteful.
How do you claim to give people more freedom by making more laws?
Well, I think what's happening is that a lot of the laws he's putting up to try and prevent woke laws. So a lot of them he's saying, hey, this is what's happening in the schools, and they've got a whole agenda that they're pushing, and we don't like that, or I don't like that, and I'm going to come up with a law to say they can't do that anymore. So I understand that because...
So that's pushing an agenda.
It is pushing an agenda.
So I'm going to push an agenda to stop an agenda.
Yeah, I get that.
You get that?
Well, I get that when you watch these videos of teachers saying that the parents don't know what's best for their children. And it's like, and there are these undercover videos where they're talking to a teacher who's talking about trying to kind of indoctrinize children. And do you ever see the video where the guy's like, he's like, listen, kids are most influenced during this age. So this is the best time for me to get to them and convince them and basically indoctrinate them towards kind of a woke culture. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, bro, teach these kids how to read and write. Like, it's not your job to teach me, how to be, inclusive of this or that, trans women and trans men, like, that's not your job, bro. If a child asks, and this is what they'll say, if a child asks about, what is a homosexual, then you tell them to go ask your mother.
Go ask your mom what a homo. All right. So can I ask you two questions? What's the purpose of kindergarten?
Well, it's a German word, and it means to shape. No, I'm just joking. I don't know what it is. A German word, but I mean, I don't know. What do you mean? It's to educate. I don't know what.
It's to teach kids how to get along with other kids. It's to get kids ready for school. Kindergarten's a preparation because kids are at home,
right? So
and then they
have to
learn,
them.
Yeah, so they have like romper room. We're gonna play over here. It's playtime.
Okay,
we're gonna line up. Show them how to stand in line.
In
and all
the
that
end
stuff.
of this, you're gonna tell me that they should be doing drag shows in school?
No.
Okay,
I'm not saying that. Second of all, do you know the definition of the word indoctrinate?
The definition of it?
Yeah.
To alter someone, or to, what is it, to be inclusive? Is it to include them, or to get that person to believe in something? It's
and you do that by controlling what they have access to. The way you indoctrinate someone is to say, you can't see this.
Right.
This is the only thing you look at.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway.
What do you mean?
I was drinking that.
Well,
okay.
What I mean, if I'm going to indoctrinate you, I'm not going to make everything I'm not going to say, here are your choices, pick whatever you want. I'm going to say, you can't have this. Exactly. So by saying, listen, there are certain books that can't be offered, right? When you're fighting woke, you're in trying to stop indoctrination by indoctrinate.
Okay, look, I don't even understand where that's going.
My point is, if he's saying they can't look, if you can't cover this, right? I'm going to control what you're able to show our kids. I don't want you telling our kids that United States is a bad country because we had slaves. I mean, I'm going to shape the way.
I can understand teaching history, but telling kids that, like, you're white, therefore you're a bad person.
Who said anything about that?
Oh, listen, I'm going to start sending you the videos. I don't send you the videos.
Who
because
said? All right, so
like the teachers are fucking horrible, bro. They say all kinds of fucked up shit. All kinds of shit. That it's like, what? Like, you're white, so you have privilege, so you should feel bad about having privilege.
So why not train the teachers?
What are you talking about?
Okay, all right. So I agree. What is that?
It's a notification of some kind.
Oh, I agree. No one should be saying you're white, you're a bad person. No one should be saying you're black, you're a bad person. No one should be saying you're Hispanic, you're a bad person. Right. I agree with that.
I hear you. I'm with you.
But what does that have to do with slavery?
Well, what do you mean? They're not saying that there's no such thing as slavery and there never was slavery.
What are they saying?
I mean, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
So what I'm saying is the philosophy is we're going to stop saying America is a racist country because we had slaves. They're saying other countries had slaves.
You were saying that they said that it's a bad country because they had slaves.
Right.
Yeah, but every country out there had slaves.
Yes.
So all countries are bad.
Maybe. Some of the history of our world was kind of segregationist. But you can't
worlds.
Right.
That's all societies have been like that.
Right. But you can't limit what I know about that. My perception is born from all that I see and understand, and I get my opinion. My opinion shouldn't come from seeing only limited information, right? And forming an opinion that's based on limited information. My opinion should be formed from having all the information.
Okay, what information are they saying that they don't have?
They're not going to give books that promote slavery or the U.S., people with the opinion that the U.S. is a racist country. Let's get those books out. There are people who think that.
I agree with that. Like,
okay.
I agree that, like, you shouldn't be going around saying that the United States is completely, like, racist. Like, every country is racist. And most countries, let's face it, like, go to China, go to Japan, go to, you go to Europe, go to a lot of these countries. Like, they're extremely and open about it.
Yes, Muslim countries are extremely racist and prejudiced, and what is it? What do you call it when against women?
Oh yeah, misogynistic or
yes.
Yeah.
So I agree. I agree with you on that.
Right, but to focus, what I think is just like young people are just completely focused on these woke ideologies that are just, they're just outrageous. It's like, what are you doing? Like she, Matt, him. I get on LinkedIn and people are like, John Thomas. And then it says, he, him. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I agree some of that's crazy, but they're crazy. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, that I don't want exposure to it. It just means that that's what that person's going through. I think we should see the whole picture. I don't think you should shave down or fight woke by limiting information. I think everyone should have all the information and form their own opinion. In China,
I'm gonna start sending you the videos.
You send me the video.
Of the
in
things
China,
that they're saying to people.
Matt, in China,
or kids,
in China, they want people to accept the government, so they absolutely restrict what they learn. If you don't know what else is going on, if you don't
our country does that already. I mean, you see like in France, like they don't talk anything about there's riots in France right now. It's outrageous. The only place you get that is on TikTok. If you look at all of these, all they're talking about is Trump. There's nothing about France. If you go to YouTube, if you go to it's insane.
It is.
It's insane that like
they're fighting over changing the age of retirement from 62 to 65.
Rioting over it.
Yes.
Like it's like millions and millions of people are rioting. Yeah, it's insane.
It is. And that's indoctrination by not.
So I have a question for you.
Presenting information.
What do you think about San Francisco wanting to give, and I probably got the amount wrong, I'm pretty sure it was $4 or $5 million to every African American in San Francisco and a free house?
I think that's extreme, my opinion.
You think?
Yeah.
What about?
I think it would be wasted and wilted away.
What do you think? It might break the budget and isn't even possible. So to even suggest it is ludicrous. Wouldn't you say that's insane for people that weren't that?
Well, it would be the same as the stimulus, the $1,000 stimulus.
It's $5 million.
I don't think that's. Yeah, I think it's insane.
So
I think it's excessive and insane.
What do you think about the liberal cities that went in and said in all these places, like in LA and San Francisco and Chicago, hey, we're not going to prosecute anyone that steals less than $1,000?
I think I need to move there.
Have you seen the people that just go and
the flash raids?
Not just that, people walking and just fucking stealing shit and walking out and saying fuck you and walking out brazen because they know they won't prosecute me. Did you know Walmart's closing half their stores in Chicago? Half. Target's moving out. They're moving out in droves. And you know what's happening? Now people are running around going, I can't believe that these stores are moving. When I went to LA, and I was in downtown LA, there are stores closed everywhere. And when I asked the people in the hotel, they were like, yeah, well, they've run them out of business. And I go, who ran them out of business? And I asked two different people in the hotel, and they were like, yeah, no, the only places that are up are places that can afford to have security. And even then, they're starting to realize people that rob are starting to realize that the security that they were not allowed to physically stop them. So if they can call the police and the police can get there in time, they can arrest them, take them downtown, photograph them, book them, and release them. They don't prosecute them. So all you do is get a ride downtown and a photograph. So what would keep you from going other than just good behavior? Like, every mom and pop store in downtown LA is closed. The only places that are still open are like Rite Aid, and these types of, you know what I'm saying, like these larger chains, and those are all moving. They're all like, yeah, we're done. So what about I forget where it is, where the chicks like the mayor or something of like, not Chicago. I don't think it was Chicago, but it's like Seattle or something. And she ran on defunding the police. And now there's riots and they're robbing the place blind. And now she's running around going, yeah, where are the police? Where are the police? You cut $100 million out of their budget. Like, it's like they have these feel good ideas. And then when they collapse, they run around like, ah. But the truth is, like, it would be it's easy to be a limousine liberal when you live in a glass tower and those people can't get into your neighborhood. So for me to run around and say it's not fair and it's not right and what's happening and they should do this and they should do that and they should do that, and then cut this and cut that, and then things go to hell, it doesn't really affect you because you're living behind a guarded gate, or you have a doorman, and you live in Manhattan, and nobody's going to break into your house and go up to the 30th floor. And so it's like, I get it. Like there are lots of liberal ideas I love. There's lots of, Democrat things that Democrats want to do that I love. I love them, but I'm realistic. Like, you can't pay for them. Like, I would love free healthcare. That's what my favorite video is. That video, I think I even sent you the video where they're firing some missile, like they're showing all these missile systems, and they're like, yeah, we're about to show the Russians why we don't have healthcare. Like I get it. It's true, but I would love free healthcare. Like, the idea of having to pay for healthcare really bothers me for some reason. But
you don't have to pay for it.
What do you mean?
You never had to pay for healthcare. You can just go to the emergency room and
not pay. Stop. You're going to but they're going to bill you, and it'll go on your credit eventually, and they'll come after it. Stop it. I don't want to do that. My point is that there's lots of things that I think
becomes what you call a dilemma. Right. But go ahead.
I would love free daycare. I would love free healthcare, free daycare. There's lots of things that I think would be great. But, it's like, who pays for that?
Well, ask yourself the benefit of daycare for a working mom.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's huge. I think
it allows her to pay taxes. All right, but listen, because we'll go round and round, and we're almost out of time, so we have to go with our different views on this. Listen, I absolutely understand what you're saying, and I respect it, but I respectfully disagree. I think that if people are moving out of Chicago or closing them down, or if it's capture and release, whatever.
600,000 people left California last year. They're moving out in droves, and it's not the poor people, it's the rich people. Who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to pay the bills?
Anybody call for the FBI to be defunded?
Why? Because you're backing them?
No, I'm just asking. Does anybody call for the FBI to be defunded?
No, they just say they're like the police. It's just a general, just the police.
As a convict, Matt, I'm sure you don't have a high view of the police.
What's funny is, like, it's funny how I always say, like, the FBI, but the problem is I had a really, really grungy FBI agent, Candace Calderon. She was horrible. But I also had Leslie Nelson was an FBI agent. She was super professional, very nice. Secret Service, every Secret Service agent I ever met was very professional. But I had one or two. I had two FBI agents that were on my case that were just like scumbags. Like, it's like I get what I did, but you're acting like I'm a terrorist. You're acting like I'm blowing up children and killing people and harming people. Like, I took some money from banks. Like, I stole some identities. Like, I'm not saying that some people didn't lose some money. Some people did go out and they hired attorneys, but I've never taken money from an individual. But I literally had these two. Like, one agent was useless. The other one was she was just a vicious, angry, bitter person all around. And the other people, I was told by FBI agents that said other people in the FBI didn't like her. They were like literally like.
What was her name? This is the one in Tampa?
Candace Calderon.
The one in Tampa?
Yes.
Oh my God. I had a run-in with her.
She's horrible.
Yeah, she is. She's the most rudest. What happened to her anyway?
She retired. Now she teaches defense courses.
Anyway, yeah, I don't understand, but because that doesn't answer my question.
I'm saying overall, like, listen, overall, I'm a huge believer in law enforcement. Like, I believe, like, listen, I want to be safe.
Me too.
I want law enforcement. I want decent law enforcement that isn't rude. I watch these videos. You ever see the guys with like that video, what do they call them? Auditors, Constitution auditors, or
yes.
Second Amendment auditors.
Oh, those are what you call sovereign citizens.
Well, not all of them, but yeah. They'll go out and they just video. They'll walk through like a public building and video, and people come out in droves like, "Oh, what are you doing here? You can't be here videoing. You're not allowed to." Yeah, I am. It's a public building. Well, no, this is private. No, it's not it's public. This is public records. I'm in a public building. Oh, we're calling the police. And they call the police. About half the time, the police show up and say, what are you doing? I'm doing this. Well, what's your name? I'm not telling you my name. Well, let me see some ID. No. Half the time, the cops are like, all right, man, just don't bother anybody. Do me a favor. All right, thanks.
Are you friggin' kidding me?
I don't know what you watch. So I'm gonna
cartoons.
But
look,
the other half though, the cops are jerks. They handcuff them. They pull their license. But they are legally allowed to videotape.
Yes.
I'm allowed to videotape in public, and you can ask me for my driver's license, but and my ID. You're right. You're allowed to ID me if you can articulate a crime that I'm committing. And you know what most of the time they do?
Well,
they're like,
a valid reason, not a crime you're committing.
Well, you have to do, you have to, the law says from these guys are saying, and they tell, right. And they learn that the cops, they educate the cops all the time. The cops are like, well, I'm doing an investigation on what? I'm finding out who you are. That's not a crime. Finding out who I am, you have to be able to articulate a specific crime that you're investigating. What do you think I've done? And they'll be like, well, I don't know what you've done until I've done the investigation. They're like, that's not the way the law works. So I'm not giving you my ID. If then they're like, well, you're videotaping. It's suspicious. Suspicious is not a crime. So they'll go on and on with the cop. Most of the time, the cops get frustrated and just like knock the phone out of their hand and handcuff them and yank their shit. And then, of course, by the time then the supervisor shows up and he's like, uncuff him. What was he doing? Was he doing this? Listen, bro. They're like, okay. They'll go to the guy and say, listen, Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry. I apologize. Here's what happened. He didn't know. Do you have your stuff? I hope everything's okay. Are you good? By all means, you can video. You can. So my problem is you see so many of these cops. They're so overwhelmingly power hungry that it makes you hate them. They're few and far in between, right? But that's the problem is, do you remember Jason Weeks used to say this? It's what Jason Weeks used to say. It's the 99% that make the 1% look bad. It's the 99. It's the 99% of bad cops that make the 1% of good cops look bad.
Yeah.
But the point is it's the 1% of bad cops that make the 99% look good.
Look bad.
I mean, look bad. Yeah, sorry, look bad. Like I can't tell you how many times I've watched one of those videos and seen the cop walk up and say, hey, what's going on? We were called out here. Are you a Second Amendment auditor or whatever they are? First Amendment auditor. I forget which one it is. And they're like, yeah, I am. And they're like, okay, so you're just videoing. Right. Yeah, just videoing. Okay, no problem. You have every right to do that. Do me a favor. Don't go on their property. It's private property. I'm not going on their property. I understand. Just letting you know. And then he goes over and they tell the woman or the man, whoever's complaining, they're like, look, he's allowed to do this. Oh, he's videoing my property. It's my, stop it, man. Stop. They shut him down. Like, what are you doing, man? The guy's allowed to videotape. Just go inside. You don't want to be on videotape? Oh, okay. Go in your house. Close the windows. So what I'm saying is it's like same thing with the guards. There were some guards that were just there to do a job. Like, bro, just don't let me see you do this. Don't do this. Don't do that. Come on. What do you do? And then there were other cops that went in there. They're shaking your locker down. They're flipping your bed. They're looking. I'm doing a search. You're like, bro, you're fucking trashing my room for no reason. Just because you're a dick and they wouldn't let you on the police department. If you'd pass the police exam, you'd be a cop right now hassling people.
Well, you know what's so funny? To where I was, the extreme was so wide that one cop would come, right, and everybody would be sitting and lined up correctly, and the other cop would come and you'd walk in and they're frying burritos in the unit. It smells like a restaurant. I'm like, it smells like a fucking restaurant in here.
Yeah. And he doesn't leave the office. He doesn't care.
Doesn't give a damn. I go like, how extreme?
You got the guy's tattoo.
Yes.
The tattoo you guys used to go and tell the cops, say, listen, man, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. Or they'd be like, listen, man, I'll be honest with you. I tattoo.
Yeah.
I got somebody coming over and they go, well, when's it coming over?
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, the lieutenant comes by.
The extremes.
Yeah. Lieutenant comes by at 7, okay? So have somebody look out, a real lookout. Don't be doing it when the lieutenant comes. It makes me look bad. Like those are the cops who are like, look, this is a stupid law. They're going to tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to shake him down and just take his needles so that he goes and steals more needles and does more stuff. Like, let's just.
Well, for the last minute, can you hone in what you were saying?
I don't know what I was saying.
You're talking about defunding the FBI.
I don't want to defund the FBI. I'm okay with the FBI.
All right, close
I
this
just
out.
wish they'd get rid of Candace and stuff. Well, she already retired.
She's already gone.
But I'm just saying that.
So is Lavender. So we're okay.
Yeah, to me, I just think that, if you've got a dickhead cop, then they need to get rid of him. You know what they do sometimes? They're just like, look, you retire and you can go. Like, they'll just shift them somewhere else.
Yeah. Dickhead cops really have a lot of power.
People in the comments make fun of us because they say we're like stuck in the 80s or 90s. Yeah. And they think, like, they say like the 90s, like that was the turn of the century. Like, that was actually, I guess it was.
It was.
But they say like the 90s and 80s, like Matt, it's like watching these guys. It's like watching two guys in the 80s or the 90s.
Old. We're old people.
Like you ever notice all the actors they mention are in their 50s or 60s or dead? It's like they don't know any new actors. No, I don't. I don't know any new hip actors,
and neither do they.
No, they do. That's all they know. That's all they.
Samuel Jackson is still relevant.
Samuel Jackson's amazing.
Yes, he's still relevant. Arnold Schwarzenegger is still the Terminator. Is he not, people? Is he not still the Terminator in his 90s?
Alec Baldwin.
Isn't he going to jail soon? Or they?
Yeah, for shooting somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
Spacek, Kevin Spacek. Spacey, yes.
Kevin Spacey.
There is a woman, Sissy Spacek.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. It's a Sissy Spacek. It's Kevin Spacey.
The Blacklist. Did you ever see The Blacklist?
Oh my God, yes.
That's
my favorite show.
People used to. The only reason I ever watched it, by the way, is so many people in the
Reddington.
Yeah, Reddington. In the concrete one that I did, so many people were saying, "Bro, this guy is Reddington from the," and they kept saying it, and I was like I must have seen it like 5 or 10 times, and I finally went, you know what? Let me look this up, and I looked it up, and I watched all of them, by the way, but within
I watched
like
10 seasons.
I watched them all.
Are you serious?
I even watched the ones during COVID when they actually made they actually did they did animation because they couldn't all be together, so they had somebody animate the series or animate parts of the it's horrible.
So it got bad though, didn't it?
Well,
it about season 6 and 7 was ridiculous.
I did like Reddington. My problem was that, and I like the character. I like the whole thing. My problem was you are comparing me to just a complete sociopath that would kill anybody. But I do like him, and I get it. I hear. I see.
But all right, so a few minutes on Blacklist, if you don't mind. All
go
right,
ahead. Love it.
Because my favorite show. So began excellent.
When he walks in the FBI, tells him, he walks back, knows exactly what's coming. Oh,
yes, it gives everybody up. Then he starts working a plot. Then, she has a baby. And then they start working his wife into it. So like seasons 1 through 4. Yeah, 1 through 4, 5.5. Excellent. Then it got off track. Yeah. When she's like, when he became broke, like the season that he's in prison fighting his case.
Yeah.
So I stopped after season 7. There's 3 other ones. Did it get better? Did it? Because it's over now. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's what happened was it became more and more just repetitive. It's the same stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think it got any.
There was always a side story going on with the.
What did happen? Did ultimately,
because when the
did you ultimately find out that she was or wasn't his daughter?
Yeah, that was driving me nuts.
Yeah, because there were times I was like, oh, definitely. There was like,
then they brought the mom in it.
Yes, yeah, I saw those. The mom was treacherous.
I was upset when they killed her husband.
Yeah, he was a good character. He was a good character.
Yes, he was. The new boyfriend is garbage.
I don't remember the new boyfriend. Maybe I didn't see that season. Maybe I went all the way up and maybe I didn't see it because I don't remember exactly how it was. I loved, oh gosh, what was his buddy's name?
The black guy?
Yes. Oh God.
Did he finish? Did he finish all of them?
Tubey or Tuba or whatever his name was.
Dembe.
I always love the one where Dembe is sitting there and he's like, I guess Reddington had caught up with a guy that had basically like harmed Dembe.
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, he's sitting there telling the guy, he's like,
and he goes, Reddington.
Yeah, you don't.
I'll do the line. I go, Reddington, you don't have to do this.
Yeah, he says, that's the difference between men like you, or men like him and men like you.
No, men like us.
Men like us. And then he, boom, shoots the guy. Yeah.
Oh, he has so many classic, there's so many kills that I'm just like, yes.
If you go online, there are total videos with nothing but Reddington quotes with music in the background. They're great.
Oh, I got to see that.
He used to drive Jess crazy. We'd be driving.
I love, and his stories.
Yeah.
You know who he reminds me of? And this is way back in the 70s.
Do you know what we're talking about? What? Oh, God.
The Blacklist? The show,
he
The
Blacklist?
Blacklist?
No, forget it. He's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I can't talk to him.
Listen, I quoted someone the other day. I go, the girl goes, I knew you were going to call. I go, oh, just like Miss Cleo. I go, you don't know who that is, do you? Now I'm like, damn. That was the 90s.
Listen, I have so many things I'll say to Jess, and she gets that look. She tries not to say anything, and I'm just like,
you don't know.
You don't know what that is, dude. And she's like, I don't. Maybe, what is it? And I'll start to tell her. She'll go, I think I've seen one. Yeah. I and it's like, stop it. Stop. You're making it worse.
Yeah. What the hell happened to us? All these old dated. Now there's so many shows. It's even hard to come up with one. But he reminds me of the Gilligan's Island, Thurston Howell III. That's who I think. What's his name anyway? Spader.
Kevin.
No. Who? Spader. It's James Spader. James.
Oh yeah,
Raymond Reddington?
yeah. Raymond James. Is it James Spader?
Yes, that's.
Well, this is horrible because people. What I hate is I don't mind being wrong. What I hate is when people hammer me in the. Oh. I could look it up. Listen, I could look it up. I'm not going to. It's James Reddington. Whatever.
James Spader, Raymond Reddington. But that is exactly like if his first movie is called Tough Turf. And that's the same character from Tough Turf when he was like 20 years old that he's playing right now. He's a method actor. He's like the what's the guy's name that plays with Jennifer Aniston in The Breakup?
Oh God. Are you talking about Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn.
Oh. Vince Vaughn is a method actor. He's Vince Vaughn.
He plays the same. Right. I hate actors that is the same character in every movie.
Okay, James Spader.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. James Spader is the same character in every movie. Vince Vaughn is the same character. He doesn't change.
Pretty in Pink?
Yes.
James Spader is in Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
You know who he plays in there? He plays Reddington.
Yes.
He is exactly the same character.
Yes. He's the same. He's not
really an actor. He's just playing himself.
Yes.
He's probably exactly like that in real life.
Yes. He just shows up and becomes, he's not really an actor.
But if you were to go, like if you watch the movie Heat, okay? Yes. And then you watch the movie, and Heat is with De Niro, right? Robert De Niro.
Piscopo.
No, Heat.
Not Joe Piscopo.
No.
What's his name? The other detective.
He's not going to know. Anyway, it's not other detective. There was the detective, which is
Al Pacino.
That's and then you've got Robert De Niro. So right. De Niro, if you watch De Niro in Heat, and then you go and watch the movie
A Bronx Tale.
No, not even. I'm talking about something like literally like something like The Intern.
Yes.
You cannot picture.
Or what is it? One with Grandpa, Dirty Grandpa.
Right. He's two completely different people. I mean, it's absolutely insane that this is the same person. So, but
Al Pacino is almost he moves, but it's not much.
No, you're right.
Robert De Niro or Denzel Washington is another one that's over here and over here.
You know who else is like that?
Which one? Very broad,
no, extremely. I mean, just a huge. He's super versatile. Which is he played in. Come on, Matt. He's a black guy. He was in the movie. He was in Any Given Sunday. He plays the lead.
Jamie Curtis. Not Jamie Curtis. That's the female.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, it's Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx. You look at him in that role, and then you look at him in the role where he plays the taxi driver.
Oh yeah, with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
What about Tom? What do you think? You think he's a broad?
I mean, he basically gets all the same. I don't know that the characters are that different. He doesn't play different characters. He always plays a lead guy that's super cool and kind of tough. So, it's always kind of him. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, he does a little bit. Not
De Niro in Dirty Grandpa and...
I don't know. He wasn't in Dirty Grandpa.
What is it called? The Grandpa movie?
I was thinking like the Meet the Fockers or something. Like, he could play... Yes. He could be a comedian, a goofy kind of comedian. He can be a helpless old man like he was...
Gangster?
Yeah, or he can be a straight thug gangster that is dangerous.
Yes.
Like, the guy that he plays in The Intern is not a dangerous person. I understand you're not, I don't know if you've seen that one or not. Like, he's just he's an old guy and he's kind of fragile but he's a nice guy. He's a smart guy, but that's it. Like, he's not dangerous. The guy he plays in Heat is the kind of guy that he just gives you a look and you think, this guy's going to come to my house tonight.
What about, have you seen Casino?
Of course.
Like Casino, Casino, he was more of a wimp.
No, I was going to say Casino was horrible. You're thinking like Goodfellas.
Goodfellas, yes.
Goodfellas and Casino, two totally different people. Like the guy in Casino, he's not going to do nothing. No. He's not going to harm you. He's not going to touch you physically. He's not a physically violent person. But Goodfellas, yeah, he'll kill you and your whole family.
Or what about he played in Untouchables?
No. A taxi driver. He played.
No, the movie he plays Al Capone. You're nothing but a lot of talking a badge.
Yeah, he talks.
You're nothing but a lot of talking a badge.
Scarface.
Yeah, that's not Scarface.
No, Untouchables. You're right. I was, my favorite.
Kevin Costner.
My favorite line in that movie.
Which one?
Untouchables is when he's got the guy, the hitman, on the roof, and the guy says, "You should have heard your friend squealing like a pig." And he goes, "What?" And he grabs him, throws him off the roof, and the guy's going, "Ah!" And he goes, "Sound anything like that?" It was such a great line.
I know. Mine is the one I just quoted. Nothing but a lot of talking a badge.
Oh,
because he's like, never give up. They're trying to fight. When he tells the judge that his name is on the bribe list.
Oh,
so the judge says, I want you to take that I want you to go in the other courtroom and swap the jury. Because he's all relaxed and chill. And he goes, I'm swapping the jury. And he goes, hey, what are you doing? Don't stop him. Stop him.
Yeah.
He tells him to stop him. And then the courtroom gets crazy. And he goes, what are you saying? What are you saying? Al Capone is trying to hear what Elliot Ness is saying. So they're getting close. And he goes, never give up. Never give up. He goes, get out of here. There's been a lot of talking a badge. Nothing but a lot of talking a fucking.
I love, I was going to say one of the favorite quotes is from the Joker, where he says,
Joker?
No. Dark Knight, where he says, plan. Look at me. Do I look like a guy with a plan? He said, I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one.
Yes.
I love that.
So since we're covering, all right, does that Joker have more lines or did Jack Nicholson have more lines?
Oh, no, the Joker and Dark Knight had way more lines, right? Don't you think? Than Jack Nicholson?
I mean, more classic lines. Jack Nicholson, when he played the Joker, the original Batman.
Played it was like a comic book version of, not that Jack Nicholson's another one. He always plays Jack Nicholson.
What was that character? The purple.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. That he's a big guy with always got that jaw. He's a big tough guy. Yeah. He can't play anybody but him.
No, but he doesn't need to play anybody but him. He's hilarious.
He dated Elaine in Seinfeld. See, this is another one. I'll make Jess I made Jess watch Rockford Files.
Oh my, James Gardner. God, what? She couldn't stand it.
No, she's like, no, it's okay. She doesn't mind. But it is kind of repetitive.
Oh my God! Listen, as a kid, I thought that was I didn't understand what was going on.
We probably watched 10 of them so far.
I know. I didn't understand what was going on. I used to watch Rockford Files every week because James Gardner would kick butt. He's cracking himself up over there.
He's got another one. What is it? What is it now?
No. I didn't know that Patrick played Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story.
He was Buzz Lightyear?
Yeah. And he looks like Buzz Lightyear.
I thought that was
No, Tom Hanks plays the Woody.
No, but I thought that was the guy that plays the TV show, Tim Allen. I thought that was Tim Allen was Buzz Lightyear.
It might. I think you're right. I
thought Tim Allen was Buzz Lightyear, the first Buzz Lightyear at least.
Yeah. Well, Tim Allen's still.
I think he's like the newer one.
I think he looks.
Oh, he's the Buzz Lightyear in the movie.
Oh, the movie did horrible, I heard. Right? Didn't it do horrible?
Using forgeries and bogus identities, Matthew B. Cox, one of the most ingenious con men in history, built America's biggest banks out of millions. Despite numerous encounters with bank security, state, and federal authorities, Cox narrowly, and quite luckily, avoided capture for years. Eventually, he topped the U.S. Secret Service's most wanted list and led the U.S. Marshals, FBI, and Secret Service on a 3-year chase, while jet-setting around the world with his attractive female accomplices. Cox has been declared one of the most prolific mortgage fraud con artists of all time by CNBC's American Greed. Bloomberg Businessweek called him the mortgage industry's worst nightmare, while Dateline NBC described Cox as a gifted forger and silver-tongued liar. Playboy magazine proclaimed his scam was real estate fraud, and he was the best. Shark in the Housing Pool is Cox's exhilarating first-person account of his stranger-than-fiction story. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
Bent is the story of John J. Boziak's phenomenal life of crime. Inked from head to toe, with an addiction to strippers and fast Cadillacs, Boziak was not your typical computer geek. He was, however, one of the most cunning scammers, counterfeiters, identity thieves, and escape artists alive, and a major thorn in the side of the U.S. Secret Service as they fought a war on cybercrime. With a savant-like ability to circumvent banking security and stay one step ahead of law enforcement, Boziak made millions of dollars in the international cyber underworld, with the help of the Chinese and the Russians. Then, leaving nothing but a John Doe warrant and a cleaned-out bank account in his wake, he vanished. Boziak's stranger-than-fiction tale of ingenious scams and impossible escapes, of brazen run-ins with the law and secret desires to straighten out and settle down, makes his story a true crime con game that will keep you guessing. Bent: How a Homeless Teen Became One of the Cybercrime Industry's Most Prolific Counterfeiters. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
Buried by the U.S. government and ignored by the national media, this is the story they don't want you to know. When Frank Amadeo met with President George W. Bush at the White House to discuss NATO operations in Afghanistan, no one knew that he'd already embezzled nearly $200 million from the federal government, money he intended to use to bankroll his plan to take over the world. From Amadeo's global headquarters in the shadow of Florida's Disney World, with a nearly inexhaustible supply of the Internal Revenue Service's funds, Amadeo acquired multiple businesses, amassing a mega conglomerate. Driven by his delusions of world conquest, he negotiated the purchase of a squadron of American fighter jets and the controlling interest in a former Soviet ICBM factory. He began working to build the largest private militia on the planet, over 1 million Africans strong. Simultaneously, Amadeo hired an international black ops force to orchestrate a coup in the Congo, while plotting to take over several small Eastern European countries. The most disturbing part of it all is, had the U.S. government not thwarted his plans, he might have just pulled it off. It's insanity, the bizarre, true story of a bipolar megalomaniac's insane plan for total world domination. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
Pierre Rossini, in the 1990s, was a 20-something-year-old Los Angeles-based drug trafficker of ecstasy and ice. He and his associates drove luxury European supercars, lived in Beverly Hills penthouses, and dated Playboy models while dodging federal indictments. Then, 2 FBI officers with the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force entered the picture. Dirty agents willing to fix cases and identify informants. Suddenly, 2 two of Rossini's associates, confidential informants working with federal law enforcement, were murdered. Everyone pointed to Rossini. As his co-defendants prepared for trial, U.S. Attorney Robert Mueller sat down to debrief Rossini at Leavenworth Penitentiary, and another story emerged. A tale of FBI corruption and complicity in murder. You see, Pierre Rossini knew something that no one else knew. The truth. And Robert Mueller and the federal government have been covering it up to this very day. Devil Exposed. A twisted tale of drug trafficking, corruption, and murder in the City of Angels. Available on Amazon and Audible.
Bailout is a psychological true crime thriller that pits a narcissistic conman against an egotistical, pathological liar. Marcus Schrinker, the money manager who attempted to fake his own death during the 2008 financial crisis, is about to be released from prison, and he's ready to talk. He's ready to tell you the story no one's heard. Schrinker sits down with true crime writer Matthew B. Cox, a fellow inmate serving time for bank fraud. Schrinker lays out the details: the disgruntled clients who persecuted him for unanticipated market losses, the affair that ruined his marriage, and the treachery of his scorned wife, the woman who framed him for securities fraud, leaving him no choice but to make a bogus distress call and plunge from his multi-million-dollar private aircraft in the dead of night. The $11.1 million in life insurance, the missing $1.5 million in gold. The fact is, Schrinker wants you to think he's innocent. The problem is, Cox knows Schrinker's a pathological liar, and his story's a fabrication. As Cox subtly coaxes, cajoles, and yes, cons Schrinker into revealing his deceptions, his stranger-than-fiction life of lies slowly unravels. This is the story Schrinker didn't want you to know. Bailout: The Life and Lies of Marcus Schrinker. Available now on Barnes & Noble, Etsy, and Audible.
Matthew B. Cox is a con man, incarcerated in the Federal Bureau of Prisons for a variety of bank fraud-related scams. Despite not having a drug problem, Cox inexplicably ends up in the prison's Residential Drug Abuse Program, known as RDAP. A drug program in name only. RDAP is an invasive behavior modification therapy, specifically designed to correct the cognitive thinking errors associated with criminal behavior. The program is a non-fiction dark comedy which chronicles Cox's side-splitting journey. This first-person account is a fascinating glimpse at the survivor-like atmosphere inside of the government-sponsored rehabilitation unit. While navigating the treachery of his backstabbing peers, Cox simultaneously manipulates prison policies and the bumbling staff every step of the way. The program: How a Conman Survived the Federal Bureau of Prisons' Cult of RDAP. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
If you saw anything you like, links to all the books are in the description box.